Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has officially dumped the new Nigeria People's Party NNPP, and they, moved and rejoined the All Progressives Congress APC. Now, he didn't go alone, as he was joined by 22 members of the Kano State House of Assembly, including the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Majority Leader, and other top-ranking lawmakers. This many have described as a full-scale political migration. The timing, they say, is critical with just over a year to the 2027 general elections. Could this move tilt the scales in the north and possibly nationally? What happens to the Kwankwasiyya movement? Well, we're joined this morning by a political analyst, and we'll be introducing him shortly, but let's take a look at this video.
Alhaji Dr. Nasir Yusuf. We also appreciate the former Deputy Governor of Kano State and former Minister of State for Housing, Alhaji Abdullahi Tijani Mahmoud. To also appreciate the Chairman of the APC, Alhaji Abdullahi Abba, Senator Abdullah Abdurrahman Kawu Sumaila, Honorable Alhaji Ado Yogu, Honorable Kabir Rurun, Honorable Kabir Abubakar Bichi, Honorable Murtala Sumangaru, Honorable Jome, and all members of the National Assembly that have joined this party with me. To also appreciate others like Dora and the Honorable Inoa Ibrahim, Professor Hafiz.
Well, many have described Governor Yusuf's defection as an act of betrayal against his principal, former Governor and Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwasiyya, whose movement, the Kwankwasiyya Group, brought the Kano governor into power in the 2023 general elections.
Well, that's not just all. Many have said that it's a case of, even Kwankwasiyya movement says it's really a case of betrayal. But we do have our guest who's joining us. Let's bring in political analyst Zariyi Yusuf, who joins us this morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Just last week, we were talking to the spokesperson to the NNPP, and we did ask what it felt like knowing that the governor and one who is very close to the Kwankwasiyya movement and to the man Kwankwasiyya is leaving the party and now moving to APC. And he said, well, it's his choice. It didn't really feel that much bad. But with the news we're seeing recently, the updates, we can see that Mr. Rabiu Kwankwasiyya is not happy with that move, calling it an act of betrayal. Can you give us an update on what it really feels like, especially for those who have been supporting the NNPP as a political analyst? What do you think this means?
The only people with, I think, the moral ground to feel betrayed would be the people of Kano, not that spokesperson of the NNPP and not Rabiu Musa Kwankwasiyya. I do not think I am one of those that will fall for that trick. If you have a good understanding of who the governor of Kano is, being a protege of Rabiu Musa Kwankwasiyya, and how basically it's a matter of Kwankwasiyya saying jump and he says how high. I am not one of those that believe he betrayed Kwankwasiyya or the party. I just think it's just a political strategy. The man Kwankwasiyya is a powerful politician, and from his utterances in the past couple of weeks saying the preconditions for him to join the APC would have to be the interest of his people, I mean his government in Kano, his political future and all of that. It does appear he is in a position where he can't just jump ship because of either pride or some form of ego. So what better way to come to the APC than first of all sending his protege and acting as if the protege betrayed him and all of that. So the only people that can say they were betrayed by that would be the people of Kano who stood with the Kwankwasiyya movement. But for Kwankwaso to say he felt betrayed, I do not think it's a betrayal. I think it is his preliminary measures towards the campaign to the APC. And that basically is it. He may actually lead the camp or not, but I don't think there was any decision by the governor of Kano that was a betrayal to Kwankwaso. They are all together in it. I see it as a political gimmick anyway.
So all of this is an act to you. The question now is, if Kwankwasiyya has sent Abba Kabir Yusuf ahead of him as his forerunner to go and test run the APC and, you know, sort of see how things go before he comes, what's in it for Kwankwasiyya? Bear in mind that he had said he's only willing to move to a party where he could either be given the presidential ticket or the vice presidential ticket. Does this mean that he's hoping that the president will kick the current VP away and have him replaced by, you know, Kwankwasiyya?
The statement is a very wide one. It could be that to appeal to the APC. It could be that to appeal to any other party who would say, well, looking at the days of the Kwankwasiyya movement in Kano and a couple of other parts of that, you know, geopolitical region, well, since it's what he's looking for, we might do a little with either the presidential ticket or the VP slot. Talking about other parties like the ADC and all of, you know, possibly ADC primarily, you know, at least one of the coalitions that does look like it's going to put up a fight in the 2027 election. So I think it's a political strategy. And, well, it's working well for him because to a large extent, it does look like, well, if his protege has joined the party, then we could do a little more and get him over. So it's credibility, it's his street credibility he's adding. I would give it to him, he's a smart politician. Like I said, I don't really think the governor's move is anything we can say is a betrayal to Kwankwaso. So what's in it for him is that it has increased his political capital, either in the APC, because more like have a taste of what you are likely going to get if you do, basically you give me what I want. Or another party could feel, well, already taking a step towards another direction, let's quickly grab him. So he's just buying more political capital for himself. That's all.
So just to confirm again, like this is maybe a second part to my initial question. Is there a likely possibility, because this was a conversation that happened some years back, and I remember there was an uproar against this, but is there a possibility that the current VP will be replaced by Kwankwasiyya? Does he have that level of influence, do you believe?
The replacement of the current VP, frankly speaking, cannot be, if he would be replaced, cannot be by another Northern Muslim. I would need to keep that straight with you. One of the first casualties of this security challenge that we are currently facing, the involvement of, you know, the US and all of that, the first casualty of that is the Muslim ticket. Reason being, the dimension of a whole lot of things, security-wise, has not given so much room for trust, especially in other parts of the country. So if the APC wants to demonstrate some measure of commitment to a point where there is a replacement of the VP, you know, Shetima, it would likely be to pick another candidate, but definitely it could come from the northern part of the country, but most likely not a Muslim. So I do not see Kwankwaso, there is not so much he will bring to the table that Shetima has not brought or will not bring, or any other strong Muslim candidate from the northern part of the country will bring. So his coming to the APC cannot be to change Shetima. He would pull his weight, you know, very much as he could. But I do not see the APC actually picking him up as a vice presidential candidate, because he's not actually bringing anything to them that Shetima will not bring. The difference will not be much. So most likely he's doing that to gain some form of other forms of influence in terms of appointments and all of that, or maybe, like I said, to increase his political capital in terms of his chances on another platform, such as the ADC.
This move has caused a lot of ripples, especially within the NNPP. are we starting to see another political party go down in terms of the death of the NNPP? Or do you think there's a way the NNPP can still revive itself and get back on track?
I think it marks the end of the NNPP. Let me put it this way. The NNPP is a stronger version of the smaller parties that usually put up candidates, run for office, and then at a certain point in time, they hold a meeting and say, well, we sat down and agreed, and we are turning in our structure, our support base, supporters, our followers to so-and-so candidate and all of that. So the NNPP, from the onset, I actually thought if it had survived this particular season and put up a fight in 2027, then it would actually look like a party to contend with. But looking at what has just happened, I think it marks the end of it. Basically, it's a structure that was put in place to bargain for power, but a very powerful structure. But actually, this marks the end of it. That's just all I'm going to say to that question.
When you say that, this is political gimmick, it's a political strategy and acting at its very best, but do the people of Kano see it that way? Do they understand it to be political strategy? Don't they also feel heartbroken? I mean, remember when Governor Kabir Yusuf won the elections, he was almost in tears, almost needing to thank Rabi Musa Kwankwasiyya. So are they not seeing it on, from their perspective as some level of betrayal? How are they seeing it?
Yeah, that's why from the onset, my response was that the only people with the moral ground to feel betrayed are the people of Kano. The people of Kano. They walked for that party. They defended their mandate. They were there all day, all night. They came out, not necessarily reading. They voted massively. So yes, whatever games the governor, his master, and their followers are playing is a betrayal of the people of Kano. And it's a stark reminder to the people of Nigeria that although we have very powerful and revered political leaders, but at every point in time, their interest would always go ahead or far above, will be prioritized far above the interest of the masses. That basically is it. So yes, people of Kano have been stabbed in the back. They have been betrayed by the people they trusted. And that's why I said that has marked the end of the NNPP. And whatever it is, so I just hope that whatever it is they are pulling pays them off. Otherwise, they are just like any other politicians of the past in Kano henceforth. Because at least I know what the people of Kano are capable of doing.
Also, I want us to talk about the role of the immediate past chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje. He was on ground to welcome Yusuf Kabir back to the APC and assuring him that they have decided that they will throw their support behind him in his 2027 election bid and that he will come back into power. There's been the conversation about the relationship between Ganduje and Kwankwasiyya. So what do you think the impact of, what is Ganduje's role in all of this?
Well, Ganduje is a politician that I think his role in it is much of that of an individual that doesn't have so much options. One, I would see it as his way of trying to extend a handshake to Kwankwasiyya, because I see the governor of Kano as he is a bridge sort of between two of them. Just the way, like I said, outrightly, Kwankwasiyya is not jumping ship into the APC, but his protege is going ahead. It's the same way the welcome of Ganduje to that. A lot of the things that have been happening, especially in the campaigns to the APC, is just the politicians who, to a large extent, I don't really see them as so much of enemies. It's just that at certain points in time, when their interests do not lie, they look like, well, we've got principles we're holding on to, we've got ideologies, and I don't agree with you, so our paths won't cross. But they are not exactly like that. Ganduje himself and the governor of Kano are all people that I'd say owe a lot of their political careers to Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. So I don't really see that as something that defines a deepening of the whatever rift might appear to have been between him and Kwankwaso. In time, I see them all coming back in the same basket and continuing the same thing they've been doing. That basically is how see that, especially for Ganduje, who I think has lost so much of whatever political goodwill he has, whether at Kano, at a state or the national level. He doesn't actually have an option. He would have to be a friend at some point, either through welcoming the governor who has just decamped, or hoping for Kwankwaso to join the band at some point.
Okay. I mean, my final question to you would definitely be, is there any clarity regarding what the next steps could be, especially looking at the fact that, I mean, we've agreed that the NNPP is now looking like a party that will be on its own, not having a stronghold of Kano State, even though we do know that Rabiu Kwankwaso has a very strong following, but now the state belongs to the APC. And if you look at the map, we've seen that the APC states are starting to become very strong, taking all over the entire country, as it were. Taking a hold of Kano State, what does this mean for the next election? What will it mean for the next election in 2027?
Well, I don't know if I'd say the APC is taking a hold of many places. You know, we talk a lot about the campaign, something looking like we're heading towards a one state, problem. You see, there is a build-up of a very ruthless dictatorship that is coming, and we keep using political terms to describe them. Most of these people decamping are not people who decamp based on any form of ideology or whatsoever. Over 90% of them actually don't have an option. And that's what we are looking at, because whether it's actually going to turn out that way or not, a lot of these politicians believe the only way they can guarantee a political future for themselves is to jump into the APC. Because to a large extent, they have seen the template of Rivers State has demonstrated clearly to every state governor that we are in a dictatorship. In other words, somebody could wake up in the morning in Aso Rock after a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and appoint a military administrator in your state, and there's nothing you could do about it. The judiciary is already dealt with. So if I would use the word reasonable governor, especially such that is not very sure of his support base or who he is as an individual politically, will always find himself into the APC. But there is a bit of a problem in Kano, because the people of Kano have a mind of their own. I don't really know them to be people that easily yield to political manipulations, especially from the center. A lot. They are prone to basically becoming militant when it comes to defending their mandate, which is a very commendable thing. And that is why the NNPP is there. And so his decamping in Kano may not necessarily change so much. It would weaken the base of the NNPP, but it's not so much of a guarantee for him come 2027. Like I said, when I look at 2027, between now and what plays out then, is an unfortunate consolidation of a very, very ruthless dictatorship. And I must say this to you, that it's unfortunate Nigeria is taking, every day it is taking the form of a francophone country. When I say a francophone country, I'm giving you an example of what played out in countries like Cameroon, where you have the Paul Bias, and then the Sahel countries, where it took the military to give some form of democratic look to the country, because it looks as if once some people get into power in such countries, they could be there for decades. And I fear if Nigeria is not, if Nigerians do not wake up to that responsibility, this party we call the APC, that just looks like, people are saying reasons to join the party. Okay. It will likely bring Nigeria into such an unfortunate situation.
All right. Thank you so much, political analyst Zariyi Yusuf, for joining us this morning. to take a look into the APC and the NNPP there in Kano State with the latest move by the governor. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.